Boom, we're live and we are doing big things, getting stuff done. I think I'm a little bit early to the party, but that's okay. I am committed to sharing the truth so that you know exactly what is happening in today's housing market. And right now, we have real issues that are plaguing all types of markets, right? And I'm not going to go into all of them right now because I don't want to lose the audience. I want to stay focused. This video is about leaving Florida. They were banned. And I'm going to share an article that caught my attention this morning because I am not surprised that this is happening right now. And I suspect that you very likely will be surprised because this is a predatory practice that is happening right now in the market with different real estate companies, real estate brokerages. It is not the first or last time any of these things are going to happen, but I want to ensure that you know about it so that you can be protected from this type of fraud. Now, today's Sun Sentinel, which is the local South Florida paper, this was the headline. Sued by 6 states, Delray Beach real estate company seeks bankruptcy protection. Well, that in and of itself is probably not the most exciting headline news. However, I know this brokerage. I know people that are in this brokerage. I know of this program, and worse off, I have firsthand experience of other brokerages doing similar things. And so I'm going to do an expose on that. I'm just going to read this to you verbatim, and you can be the judge. Feel free to jump in with any questions, comments, concerns. And as always, I am happy to answer any questions at the end of this. What's so serious Florida needs to evacuate? Well, we're going to cover that right now, and I hope that you're able to keep up and understand what I'm saying, because there's no need to evacuate Florida. However, if you're doing shady practices in the real estate market, well, then you should be banned and get the boot. All right, let's get into it right now. Delray Beach Real Estate Company has filed for bankruptcy protection from creditors following lawsuits by 6 states over what the Florida Attorney General called deceptive, unfair, and unconscionable business practices. And here's where I want you to focus. MV Realty came under fire for its homeowner benefit program, in which homeowners are offered upfront cash. So they're paying you cash up front. Anytime anybody gives you cash up front, I hope that you understand nothing is for free. There's going to be a catch. There's going to be fine print. There's going to be something expected of you. And usually it's a lot worse than whatever you think it is. Nonetheless, they were offered between $300 and $5,000, depending on their home's value, with no interest or fees. If it sounds too good to be true, folks, that's because it is too good to be true. It's very likely a scam. In exchange, the homeowner is required to sign a contract pledging to use MV Realty if they decide to sell their home at any time over the next 40 years. 40. Okay. So I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a cheeseburger today. I wonder if the home's value will be worth more in 40 years than it is right now. I wonder if this company is looking to lock up equity that these homeowners will very likely have in 40 years. I wonder if there's some fine print that they're trying to take advantage of people who are in a disadvantaged situation right now, because lots of folks are in a financial bind. And anybody who's jumping on $300 to $5,000 is probably illiquid. They're probably facing their own liquidity crisis, personal liquidity crisis. And the fact that the US government has 10x their balance sheet from 10 trillion to 34 trillion in debt since 2007, well, unfortunately, there's no bailout program for that other than printing more money, which, by the way, is not a bailout. It's just robbing for the future to take advantage of the now. Nonetheless, in exchange, homeowner, I already read that, if another real estate company is used, if the home is foreclosed upon, or if the owners want to cancel the deal, the homeowner must pay MV Realty 3% of the home's value. The contract requires that. The 3% must also be paid if the owner dies and leaves the home to a beneficiary. So this brokerage, and again, I'm not here, I'm not the judge, jury, or the executioner, but taking advantage of 3% of someone who's in desperate need right now seems like a bad business practice. Well, evidently, the Attorney General agrees. The company on Friday filed for bankruptcy protection in 33 states following lawsuits by Florida. Whoa, by Florida, Ohio, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and North Carolina. The filing came less than a month after Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody asked the court to issue a temporary injunction that would freeze the company's assets, prohibit the company from new benefit agreements in the states, and require the company to terminate existing agreements. Goes on to say it's alleging it carried out a complex and deceptive scheme that attempts to skirt existing Florida law with the goal of swindling customers out of their home equity. This is very, very bad. And this is why many folks hate realtors, they hate real estate brokers. I learned firsthand when I first got in the real estate industry, when cold calling strangers that may or may not have a real estate need, but nonetheless, the perception of real estate professionals at that point, when I was brand new, was basically that of a sleazy used car salesman. And this type of deceptive practice does not help anybody. Goes on to the complaint. It goes on to say in the complaint that MV Realty uses deceptive and abusive telemarketing and advertising practices to promote its program, which offers $300 to $5,000 with no obligations to return the cash. Customers are told they owe MV Realty nothing in return unless and until they sell their home. Well, I wonder if over the course of the next 40 years, according to the contract, that anybody who signs up for this is going to experience one of the following circumstances: death, divorce, the need to relocate because of a job or some other reason, or they've outgrown and need to upsize in the home or downsize in the home, depending on where they're at in the life cycle. I wonder what the odds of that are over the course of 40 years. Probably pretty high. And there's going to be volatility in the market. So who knows where they're going to be in terms of home equity over the near term. But 40 years from now, chances are they're going to be sitting on a metric shit ton of equity. And MV Realty has locked that up, according to these deceptive and abusive practices. Now, it's interesting because I've seen Facebook ads populate in my stream, and I've seen these types of inducements from different brokerages. And I haven't really done much. I don't waste my time getting involved in things like this because I know they're scams, but other people don't, and other people fall for this. And if you have a desperate need and $300,000 to $500,000 is enough for you to take the bait, well, that sucks for you. And so I want to make sure people are aware that this type of fraud exists. And please, if you think this is something that you're about to fall for, then at least call me and I'll be happy to talk you out of it, or at least let you know what risks are inherent in what you're doing. Because the idea that there is no risk or no obligation is simply horseshit. They owe MV Realty nothing in return unless and until they sell their home. Great. But in reality, what the complaint says MV Realty does is encumbers the property for 40 years and extracts excessive and unconscionable fees from consumers. I was about to say customers, if they try to cancel the agreement, or if the home is transferred through foreclosure or other circumstance that are not commonly understood as a sale. Wow. So let me get this straight. If this particular homeowner is in such distress that they must be foreclosed on, or there must be a short sale, or there is some sort of personal liquidity crisis that they are facing, the additional kick to the nuts that they receive is now they owe 3% to MV Realty on top of whatever else they can't pay. That seems really fair. And that's the market that we're in right now. And there will be more predatory practices like this. So you need to be able to sniff these things out. And if I can ever help with that, then please reach out. Goes on to say that to find the customers, NV Realty used telemarketing calls, including the people who had registered their phone numbers on the do not call registry. The lawsuit said, adding that the consumers, that cough was definitely COVID, just so you know. I'm kidding, just like I was kidding in my last video, which said I was leaving Florida. But nonetheless, I'm not going anywhere and I'm fine, perfectly healthy. Healthy as a horse, strong as an ox. All right, so where am I on this? So they violated the do not call registry, the lawsuit says, adding that the consumers who did not answer were bombarded with millions of unwanted pre-recorded voicemails. Who doesn't love a telemarketing call or a telemarketing text or a telemarketing voicemail? Everybody loves to be spammed endlessly, right? No. All right. The complainant argues that NV Realty files are liens that violate state law that prohibit real estate brokers from recording any contract, assignment, deed, will, mortgage, affidavit, or other writing which purports to affect the title or encumber any real property for the purpose of collecting a commission or to coerce the payment of money to the broker or sales assistant. Yeah, that's no bueno. Can't do that. It's against the law. But the complaint, MV Realty, the complaint says, records its memorandum of homeowner benefit agreement without obtaining, first of all, memorandum of homeowner benefit agreement does not sound like any of this is a homeowner benefit in any way, shape, or form. This is simply just looking to rob unsuspecting, unsophisticated folks who are in financial need and looking to solve their pain point through this money printing that is not real. Anything that sounds too good to be true is. And if the government starts to talk about inducements to get us onto their general ledger with some type of digital currency, I hope that somebody reads the fine print and understands what they're signing. Because if the bait is so good and it seems so good, just know there's probably a cost that's associated with that. And we're going into volatile times. They're going to try to pull a Harry Houdini on us at some point. At least that's what I think. Yet to be determined, I don't know. But memorandum of homeowner benefit agreement without obtaining express permission from a court or affected consumers to have a lien filed against their property. So you take the money, now you got a lien against your house. Congratulations, you lose. Moody's action seeks to void MV's realty contracts with consumers, return money wrongfully taken from homeowners, impose civil penalties on the company, and prevent violations of Florida's Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act. I hope these folks do get booted from Florida. But MV Realty has been licensed in Florida since 2014, goes on to name some folks. I'm not going to name their names. MV Realty did not immediately respond to questions about the bankruptcy on Monday. I wonder why. I should have invited them on the live stream. Perhaps they would have liked to do a little Q&A with me. However, it was filed under Chapter 11 of the U.S. Bankruptcy Code, which is typically an effort to remain in business by reorganizing debt for the benefit of creditors. Now, I have been keeping track of the bankruptcy upticks that we have seen nationally and in the state, and they will be one of the folks that are included in my next update of Chapter 11 bankruptcies. In a motion to dismiss the case, MV Realty in February wrote that it engages in transparent, reasonable, and lawful activities and provides an innovative way for homeowners to be robbed from. An innovative way for homeowners to procure a real estate company. These folks don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they signed up for. They are just looking for a solution for their financial problem. Homeowners sign and notarize homeowner benefit agreements that acknowledge their agreement to either use MV Realty as their exclusive listing agents if they decide to sell, or pay MV Realty a 3% early termination fee if they breach the agreement. Now, I can speak from personal experience here. And oh, what's up, J-Man? What's up, Russell? What's up, Ron Yates in the house? Sylvia, what's up, my man? So here's where it gets a little bit more intriguing, right? So this is not the first time I've seen a brokerage company go out there and lock down a client for 10, 20, 40 years. Many years ago, when I first got involved in real estate, when I was first starting, I went to, someone had reached out to me. They were unhappy with their current listing agent, and they wanted me to consult with them and solve their pain point, right? And so I met with them. It was, if I remember correctly, it was also Delray Beach, but they had $1 million intercoastal condo, very nice property. It was ridiculously overpriced, and they were locked into this contract. And so I know from the way I do business that when anybody signs a listing contract with me, I have a zero, like nobody's locked into a contract. If I'm not performing and I'm not doing what I said I'm going to do, well, then I cancel the agreement. There is no charge, no fee, no hassle, no obligation. If you don't want to do business with me, then I want to part as friends, if that ever happens. And it almost never happens. But I don't want to ever lock anybody into a contract, and I certainly don't want anybody to feel that they're locked in a contract. It's one of the benefits of doing business with me. That being said, when I consulted with them and gave them some solutions to where they were at, they produced the listing agreement that they currently had on file, which they thought their listing had expired. They thought that they were free to do business with anybody they wanted to. And what they learned after I reviewed their contract, this is from a different brokerage, and I'm not going to name names because they will likely sue me. But if you want to know, then reach out and I'll be happy to let you know who they are. But they were locked into a 10-year listing agreement, period. So the sellers, the homeowners of this property could not and cannot do business with any other brokerage, with any other realtor, other than the one they signed this contract with for 10 years. And they did not like, did not trust, did not want to do business with this particular brokerage, and they didn't know what they signed. These folks are affluent folks. These folks are business people. They should know better. And I was shocked to learn that anybody would sign a contract like that. However, they were talked into it, and they told me that the salesman was phenomenal and they trusted what the salesman was saying. And what they found is that they're locked into a 10-year contract and they can't do business with anybody else ever, period, which is not good. Let's see here. Looking at the comments, you will see more people getting into trouble. Yeah, in fact, 1000%. As the volatility that continues in the market gets worse, and to be clear, right now the housing market, I'll give you a real-time example of what the housing market is like right now. I had 2 properties under contract for a seller, and one of those buyers last minute, right before closing, was not able to fund. They lost their financing. And because this seller, which had 2 properties, I've talked about this in another video, thought that these deals were solid, they went out and got a contract to purchase under contract a new home, their dream home, contingent on those 2 properties selling, with which one of them lost the funding. So one's closing, one isn't, and now they're at risk of not being able to buy their dream home. Well, the solution was I went back and found a cash buyer, actually found multiple cash buyers in less than 6 hours. So the market is extremely strong in most markets within South Florida, at least the areas that I cover. That may not be the case everywhere else. That's what it's like right now. And despite having our back against the wall and really having no leverage, and now not being able to accept financing, we only could find a cash buyer. I found 3 cash buyers that bid the price higher, created a market within a market in hours, and bid the price higher and got the home under contract again. So they're able to go out there and purchase their dream home. But that's what the strength of the market is right now in today's market. It's not going to be like that forever, right? There is too much debt out there right now. The consumer is in financial pain right now. Everything is 40% more expensive due to inflation over the course of the last few years. That's what it is, period. And so I think the number is we're north of $1 trillion of credit card debt, and the credit card companies are hemorrhaging cash, and it's all kinds of problems. When the consumer is feeling financial pain, they make bad decisions, and signing up with somebody like this is a bad decision. Let's see here. Russell Neal. A contract is a meeting of the minds between two people or parties, terms between them that are agreed on, with limits on what they can be done as per the real estate rules. Yeah, I agree. But if one of the parties is not fully fluent as to what they're signing, or they get taught, so this brings us into insurance fraud, right? And I didn't plan on talking about that, but homeowners insurance in Florida has skyrocketed. A lot of that had to do with predatory fraud that existed within the market. There were massive, massive amounts of property adjusters that would go to communities after a storm and knock on the door and say, hey, we just had a big storm, and I noticed that there's a little crack in one of your tiles. Would you like a new roof? If you'd like a new roof, sign this here. And they would go, everybody would sign that, because not everybody, but most folks would sign that because they would get a new roof. Well, the way the law was written, the insurance companies did not have the ability to go after the homeowner once they signed their rights away. That has since changed. And so now if there's a storm and one of these predators comes and knocks on your door and says, hey, would you like a new roof with no hassle, risk, or obligation? Sign here. Well, there's big letters that say, hey, if this is considered to be fraudulent, and this is not the exact language, I'm making it up, but it's close enough. If you sign this, we can come after you and sue your ass off for damages in the future. Well, nobody's signing up for that. It's too risky. And thank God, because it was fraud. And that fraud was epidemic fraud everywhere. And that's one of the reasons that the home insurance market, the property insurance market, is the way it is. Now, they've since changed that. And I suspect over time, there's going to be competition, which comes back into the market. Many of the insurers who left the state will come back because there's money to be made here. And as they do, prices are going to come down over time. But it takes time. Russell V, yes or no? I'm assuming you're asking me yes or no in terms of, do both parties agree to the terms? In this case, no. I don't believe that the parties had any clue what they were signing. I think they were fraudulently induced to get the sugar high of the $300 to $5,000 that this company was offering. And they're not the only company that's doing this. I've seen these ads at other brokerages, and I've always known that they're deceptive, period. You cannot induce somebody and then put a lien on their house to lock them up for 40 years. It's not a fair, there is not equitable distribution there. It's completely one-sided, and I don't believe all the terms were disclosed. Because again, 40 years from now, if you were to buy a house today at the highest type, well, we're not at the all-time high of real estate in this market, but we're close. Let's pretend you buy a house at the all-time high today, and the economy collapses tomorrow, and the market goes to zero, and your home is worth zero, which is impossible. But let's just pretend that happens. Well, 40 years from now, that same home that you bought at an all-time high is going to be trading at a new all-time high. But MV Realty should be rewarded with 3% of whatever those gains are. That's insane, and that's fraudulent, and that's why they got shut. That's why they got shut down. That's why they are banned. That's why they are seeking bankruptcy protection, and that's why I suspect they'll be leaving Florida. Now, if we can help you in any way, please reach out. We would love to help. If you'd like to connect with me directly, you can do it at the link down below. or which will be attached at the end of this video. But we are always here to help. And until next time, peace.